LEO. The conversation that clears tension and restores power. There is a conversation coming your way that will change the atmosphere around you, and it is closer than you think. If you are a Leo, or if you have Leo rising or Leo moon, then what I am about to share with you carries a weight you will feel deep in your chest. Right now, you might be carrying something heavy, a tension that sits between you and someone important. Maybe it has been there for weeks. Maybe it has been building quietly for months. You feel it when you walk into the room. You feel it in the silence between words. You feel it in the way certain people look at you, or avoid looking at you altogether. And the hardest part is not the tension itself. The hardest part is that you know deep down that you are not the kind of person who is meant to live in that heaviness. You were built for warmth. You were built for openness and honesty, and the kind of presence that makes others feel safe. But lately, something has been blocking that. Something has been sitting on your energy like a stone on your chest, and you have been wondering, is this ever going to shift? The answer is yes, and it begins with a single conversation. Not a fight, not a confrontation, a real, honest, grounded conversation that clears the fog and brings you back to yourself. Stay with me through this entire message, because every single piece of what I am about to share builds on the one before it. And by the end, you will not just understand what is happening, you will know exactly what to do about it. Tip 1. The tension you are feeling is not random. It is a signal that something is ready to be released. Most people misunderstand tension. They think it means something is wrong. They think it means things are falling apart. But for you, Leo, tension has always meant something different. It means that a shift is near. It means that the energy around you has been building toward a moment of clarity, and that moment is almost here. Think about it. Every major turning point in your life has been preceded by a period of discomfort. Every breakthrough you have ever experienced came after a stretch of time when things felt tight, when conversations felt strained, when you could sense that something beneath the surface was trying to push its way through. That is exactly where you are right now. The tension you have been carrying is not a punishment. It is not the universe telling you that you have done something wrong. It is the universe telling you that you have outgrown a pattern, and that pattern is ready to fall away. But here is the key: it will not fall away on its own. It needs your voice. It needs your willingness to sit down and speak the truth, even when the truth feels uncomfortable. And I know that might sound strange for a Leo, because people often assume that Leos have no trouble speaking up. But the truth is more complicated than that. You have no trouble performing confidence. You have no trouble showing strength. But when it comes to the kind of vulnerability that real honesty requires, that is where things get harder, because you have been hurt before. You have opened up before, and it did not go the way you hoped. You have trusted someone with your real feelings, and they used that openness against you. So over time, you learn to protect yourself. You learn to keep the deepest parts of yourself tucked away, hidden behind warmth and generosity, and that bright, magnetic energy that everyone loves about you. But here is what you need to understand. That protection was necessary for a season. It kept you safe when you needed to be kept safe. But the season has changed. And now, that same armor that once protected you is the very thing that is creating the tension you feel. The conversation that is coming will ask you to take off that armor. Not all of it. Not forever. But enough to let the truth breathe. Enough to let the other person see what is really going on inside of you. And when you do that, when you let even a small crack of real vulnerability show, the tension will begin to dissolve. Not because the other person has all the answers, but because honesty, real honesty, has a way of clearing the air that nothing else can match. You do not need to have the perfect words. You do not need to rehearse a speech. You just need to be willing to say what is true. And that willingness, that is what changes everything. Tip 2. The person involved in this tension already senses that something needs to be said. You are not the only one feeling it. That is one of the things that makes this moment so powerful. The person on the other side of this tension, they feel it too. They may not be showing it in the same way you are. They may be pulling back instead of leaning in. They may be filling the silence with small talk or avoiding certain topics altogether. But underneath all of that, they know. They know that something is unresolved. They know that the energy between you has shifted. And in their own way, they are waiting for the same thing you are waiting for. They are waiting for someone to be brave enough to name it. And Leo, that someone is you. Not because you caused the tension. Not because it is your fault. but because you are the one with the strength to go first. You have always been the one who sets the tone in your relationships. When you walk into a room, the energy shifts. When you speak, people listen. When you lead with honesty, others follow. That is not ego. That is not arrogance. That is simply who you are. And right now, that quality is being called forward for a very specific purpose. The other person needs to see you go first. They need to see you open the door because they do not know how to open it themselves. Maybe they are afraid of your reaction. Maybe they are unsure of how you will respond. Maybe they have been watching you, waiting for a sign that it is safe to be honest. And your willingness to start the conversation, that is the sign they have been waiting for. Now, I want to be clear about something. Going first does not mean you have to carry the entire weight of the conversation. It does not mean you have to fix everything or have all the answers. It simply means you are willing to say, I have noticed that things feel different between us and I want to understand why. That is it. That is all it takes to break the seal. And once that seal is broken, once the first honest words are spoken, the rest will flow more naturally than you expect. Because the truth is, both of you have been holding your breath. Both of you have been tiptoeing around the thing that needs to be said. And the relief that comes when someone finally says it out loud, that relief is enormous. It is like a weight being lifted off both of your shoulders at the same time. So do not wait for them to go first. Do not wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is the one you create by being brave enough to speak. And you have always been brave enough. You just need to remember that. If what you're hearing feels accurate, imagine what could happen if you applied this energy intentionally for 21 consecutive days. That's exactly what the 21-day program in the pinned comment is built for. Daily guidance, focused direction, and real momentum. If you're tired of staying in the same cycle, this is your structure. Tip 3. The way you begin this conversation matters more than any single word you say during it. There is a reason so many important conversations go sideways. It is not because the people involved do not care. It is not because the topic is too difficult. It is because the opening sets the wrong tone. When a conversation begins with accusation, the other person puts up a wall. When it begins with frustration, the other person goes into defense mode. When it begins with silence that has been stretched too long, the other person fills it with assumptions. But when a conversation begins with calm presence and genuine curiosity, everything changes. And this is where your natural Leo energy becomes your greatest advantage. You know how to hold space. You know how to make someone feel like they are the only person in the room. You know how to look someone in the eye and let them know that you are fully there, fully present, fully engaged. That is the energy you need to bring to this conversation. Not the fiery Leo, not the dramatic Leo, not the Leo who needs to win the argument. The Leo who sits across from someone and says, without words, I am here. I am listening. I am not going anywhere. Start the conversation with a question, not a statement. Start it with genuine curiosity about how the other person is feeling. Start it with a tone that communicates safety, because the truth is, the other person is just as nervous about this conversation as you are. Maybe even more so. And the way you begin it will determine whether they open up or shut down. Think of it like lighting a fire. If you throw a match into a pile of dry wood, you get an explosion. But if you carefully place the kindling, if you nurture the first small flame, if you give it space to breathe, you get warmth. You get light. You get something that lasts. That is what you are doing here. You are not trying to create a dramatic moment. You are trying to create a safe space where truth can emerge naturally. And you do that by starting slow, by starting soft, by starting with the kind of presence that only a Leo can bring. The words will come. The honesty will follow. But the foundation is built in the first 30 seconds. Make those 30 seconds count. Make them feel like an invitation, not an interrogation. And here is something else to keep in mind. The setting matters. The time of day matters. The energy you carry into the room matters. Do not try to have this conversation when you are already frustrated. Do not try to have it in the middle of something else when attention is divided and patience is thin. Choose a moment when both of you can be fully present. Choose a space where neither of you feels cornered or rushed. Because the environment shapes the conversation just as much as the words do. When someone feels safe in their surroundings, they let their guard down. When they feel pressured or trapped, they protect themselves. And you want openness, not protection. You want honesty, not defense. So set the stage with intention. Let the other person know, through your calm energy and your steady presence, that this is not an ambush. This is a bridge, and you are building it together. Watch what happens when the other person realizes that they are safe enough to be honest with you. That is when the real conversation begins. Tip 4. You do not need to have all the answers before you speak. One of the biggest traps that Leos fall into is the belief that they need to be fully prepared before they open their mouth. You want to know exactly what to say. You want to anticipate every possible response. You want to walk into the conversation with a plan, a strategy, a clear map of how things should go. And on the surface, that sounds wise. But in practice, it becomes a reason to keep postponing the conversation. Because here is the truth. You will never feel completely ready. There will always be one more thing to think about, one more angle to consider, one more potential outcome to prepare for. And while you are busy preparing, the tension keeps growing. The distance between you and the other person keeps expanding. The weight on your chest keeps getting heavier. So let me tell you something that might feel uncomfortable, but is absolutely true. The most powerful conversations happen when you do not have all the answers. They happen when you walk in with nothing but honesty and a willingness to be present. They happen when you say, I do not know exactly how to say this, but I know I need to say something. That kind of vulnerability is not weakness. For a Leo, it is actually the highest form of strength, because it means you are choosing connection over control. It means you are choosing truth over performance. It means you are letting the other person see the real you. Not the polished version, not the confident version, not the version that always knows what to do. The real you. The one who feels uncertain sometimes. The one who gets scared. The one who loves deeply and does not always know how to show it. And here is what I have seen happen again and again. When a Leo drops the mask and speaks from that raw, unscripted place, the other person responds in kind. Vulnerability creates vulnerability. Honesty creates honesty. And before you know it, you are having the kind of conversation you have been craving for months. The kind where nothing is held back. The kind where both people walk away feeling lighter, clearer, and more connected than they have felt in a long time. So stop waiting for the perfect script. Stop waiting for the moment when you feel completely ready. That moment does not exist. What does exist is this moment right now when you can make the choice to speak from your heart instead of your head. And I want to tell you something that might surprise you. The conversations that change lives are almost never eloquent. They are messy. They are halting. They are full of long pauses and half-finished sentences. They are full of moments where someone looks down at their hands because the emotion is too big to hold eye contact. And those messy, imperfect, stumbling conversations, those are the ones that matter most. Because they are real. They are not performances. They are not rehearsed. They are two human beings standing in the truth of what they feel and refusing to look away from it. That is what you are being called to do. Not to deliver a perfect speech. Not to have every answer lined up in a row. But to show up exactly as you are, and trust that your honesty is enough. Because it is. It always has been. And that choice, that is where your power lives. Tip 5. The real issue is almost never the thing you have been arguing about. This is something that trips up a lot of people, not just Leos. But it is especially important for you to understand right now. Because the tension you have been feeling, the distance, the frustration, the heaviness, it probably looks like it is about one specific thing. Maybe it looks like it is about a disagreement over plans. Maybe it looks like it is about something someone said or did not say. Maybe it looks like it is about time or attention or priorities. And on the surface, those things are real. They matter. But they are not the root. The root is almost always deeper. The root is about feeling unseen, or feeling unappreciated, or feeling like the effort you put into the relationship is not being matched. Or feeling like the version of you that the other person fell in love with, the bright, generous, magnetic version, is not being honored anymore. And that is a painful thing to feel. Because as a Leo, you give a lot. You give your time. You give your energy. You give your warmth and your loyalty and your presence. And when you feel like all of that giving is being taken for granted, it does not just hurt. It feels like a betrayal. It feels like the unspoken agreement between you and the other person has been broken. And instead of saying that, instead of naming that deeper feeling, you end up arguing about the surface stuff. The dishes, the plans, the text that was not returned, the birthday that was not celebrated the way you hoped. Those things become containers for the bigger pain. but the bigger pain never gets addressed. So the tension builds and builds and builds until you find yourself in a place where every small thing feels like a major offense, and you cannot even remember the last time things felt easy between you. Here is what I want you to do. When you sit down for this conversation, do not start with the surface stuff. Do not start with the specific incident or the recent argument. Start with the feeling underneath it. Start with, I have been feeling like I am giving more than I am receiving. Or I have been feeling like you do not see how hard I am trying. Or I have been feeling disconnected from you and I miss the way things used to be. When you name the real thing, the thing underneath all the arguments, something shifts. The other person stops defending themselves against a specific accusation and starts hearing the human being in front of them. And that is when healing begins. Not when you win the argument, not when you prove your point, but when the other person finally understands how you have been feeling. And they can only understand that if you are willing to name it. So name it. Be brave enough to go to the root. The surface stuff will resolve itself once the foundation is solid again. Tip 6. Listening is not waiting for your turn to speak. This one is going to challenge you, Leo. And I say that with love because I know how passionately you feel things. When you are in a conversation that matters, your heart is fully engaged. Your emotions are running high. And because you feel things so deeply, you often have a response forming before the other person has even finished their sentence. That is not a flaw. It is a sign of how much you care. But in this particular conversation, it could become an obstacle. Because the person on the other side of this tension needs to feel heard. Not just listen to heard. And there is a difference. Listening is being quiet while someone talks. Hearing is making the other person feel like their words landed somewhere inside of you. It is the difference between nodding your head and actually absorbing what someone is saying. It is the difference between waiting for a pause so you can respond and sitting with what was said before you say anything at all. And for you, this is especially important right now, because the other person has been holding things too. They have their own version of the tension. They have their own frustrations, their own fears, their own feelings of being misunderstood. And if they sense, even for a moment, that you are not truly hearing them, they will shut down. They will go back behind their wall. And the conversation will end without anything being resolved. So here is what I want you to practice. When the other person is speaking, do not prepare your response. Just listen. Let their words sit in the air for a moment after they finish. Let the silence between their sentence and yours stretch just a little longer than feels comfortable. Because in that silence, something powerful happens. The other person realizes that you are actually taking in what they said. They realize that their words matter to you. They realize that this is not a debate. It is a dialogue. And when they feel that, they open up even more. They go deeper. They share things they have been afraid to say. And the conversation moves from surface-level tension to real, meaningful connection. You do not have to agree with everything they say. You do not have to accept blame for things that are not your fault. But you do have to make them feel heard. And the way you do that is by slowing down, by breathing, by being fully present instead of fully reactive. This is one of the hardest things for a Leo to do, but it is also one of the most transformative. And I want you to notice something. When you truly listen to someone, when you let them finish, when you sit in the silence, when you resist the urge to jump in with your perspective, something happens in your own body. Your shoulders drop. Your breathing slows. Your mind, which has been racing with all the things you want to say, begins to quiet down. And in that quiet, you start to hear things you would have missed if you had been busy formulating your response. You hear the tremble in their voice that tells you they are more scared than angry. You hear the pause that tells you they are choosing their words carefully because they are afraid of hurting you. You hear the love underneath the frustration. And those things, those subtle, quiet things, those are the things that change the entire direction of the conversation. When you hear those things, you respond differently. You respond with compassion instead of defense. You respond with tenderness instead of irritation. You respond with the full depth of your Leo heart, which is and always has been enormous. Because when you master the art of truly hearing someone, you become the kind of person that people trust with their deepest truths. And that trust, that is the foundation of every relationship that lasts. Tip 7. Your pride is not your enemy, but it can become your barrier. Let us talk about something that every Leo carries but few Leos want to examine too closely. Your pride. Now before you tense up, I am not here to tell you that pride is a bad thing. It is not. Your pride is part of what makes you magnificent. It is what gives you your dignity, your standards, your refusal to settle for less than you deserve. Without your pride, you would not be the strong, radiant person that people are drawn to. But in the context of this conversation, your pride needs to take a back seat. Because pride, when left unchecked, whispers things like, "Why should I be the one to apologize?" Or, "If they really cared, they would come to me." Or, "I should not have to explain myself, they should already know." And those thoughts feel true. They feel justified. But they are also the thoughts that keep people locked in tension for years. They are the thoughts that turn a temporary distance into a permanent wall. And you do not want that wall. Deep down, you know that. Deep down, you want the warmth back. You want the closeness. You want to feel that easy, natural flow between you and this person. But your pride keeps telling you that going first is a sign of weakness. That bending, even a little, means you have lost. And I need you to hear me when I say this. That is not true. Going first is not losing. Going first is leading. And you are a leader. That is in your blood. That is in your bones. Leaders do not wait for someone else to fix the problem. Leaders step forward even when it is uncomfortable, even when it is scary, because they know that someone has to go first, and they would rather it be them than no one at all. So let your pride sit this one out. Let it watch from the sidelines while you do something that takes more courage than pride ever could. Let it see you say, "I am sorry for my part in this." Let it see you say, "I want us to be better than this." Let it see you choose connection over being right. And I promise you, your pride will not be destroyed by this. It will be refined by it. Because there is a deeper kind of pride that comes from knowing you had the strength to be humble. There is a pride that comes from knowing you chose love over ego. And that pride, that is the kind that no one can ever take from you. Tip 8. Forgiveness is not about the other person. It is about freeing yourself. There is something you have been holding on to. Maybe it is a specific moment when someone let you down. Maybe it is a pattern of behavior that wore you out over time. Maybe it is a betrayal that you never fully processed. A wound that healed on the surface but still aches underneath. Whatever it is taking up space inside of you. And that is space that should be filled with joy, with creativity, with the kind of radiant energy that makes you who you are. But instead it is filled with resentment, with hurt, with the memory of what happened and the feeling that it was not fair. And you are right, probably was not fair. You probably did not deserve what happened. You probably gave more than you received. You probably trusted when you should have been more careful. And I am not going to tell you that those feelings are wrong. They are valid. They are real. But here is what I am going to tell you. Carrying them forward is costing you more than you realize. Every day that you hold on to that resentment, it takes a little piece of your energy. Every time you replay the memory, it steals a moment that could have been filled with something beautiful. Every time you let the past dictate how you show up in the present, you give the person who hurt you power they do not deserve. Forgiveness is not saying that what happened was acceptable. Forgiveness is not pretending it did not hurt. Forgiveness is not inviting the person back into your life with no boundaries. Forgiveness is simply the decision to stop carrying the weight. It is the decision to put down the stone you have been holding and let your hands be free again. And for a Leo, that freedom is everything. Because when your hands are free, you can create. When your heart is free, you can love. When your mind is free, you can dream again. And that is what is waiting for you on the other side of this conversation. Not just a resolution with the other person, but a resolution within yourself. A release of the old pain that has been dimming your light. So when you sit down for this conversation, bring forgiveness with you. Not as a gift for the other person, but as a gift for yourself. Because you deserve to be free. You deserve to walk through life without that weight on your shoulders. And the conversation that is coming, it is the doorway to that freedom. All you have to do is walk through it. Some people watch, others transform. If you want to be in the second group, the 21-day guide in the pinned comment gives you a clear step-by-step process aligned with your sign. This isn't about waiting, it's about moving. Tip 9. The version of you that emerges from this conversation will be stronger than the one that walked in. I want you to picture something for a moment. Picture yourself after this conversation has happened. Picture the moment when the tension has been spoken, when the truth has been shared, when the silence between you and this person has been filled with real words instead of assumptions. What does that version of you look like? I will tell you, that version of you stands taller, not because you won the conversation, not because you got your way, but because you did something that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. You faced the discomfort, you sat with the vulnerability, you let someone see the real you, and you survived it. And not only did you survive it, you grew from it. That is what this moment is really about, Leo. It is not just about resolving tension with another person. It is about becoming the next version of yourself. The version that does not need to hide behind a smile. The version that does not need to perform strength because you actually feel it. The version that knows the difference between being admired and being truly known. Because here is something that a lot of people do not understand about Leos. You are one of the most admired signs in the entire zodiac. People look up to you. People are drawn to your warmth, your charisma, your generosity. But being admired and being known are two very different things. And deep down, what you crave more than admiration is the feeling of being truly known by someone, truly seen, truly understood. Not the version of you that lights up the room, not the version that makes everyone laugh, but the version that sometimes cries when no one is watching, the version that sometimes doubts whether they are enough, the version that gives and gives and gives and secretly wonders if anyone notices. That version of you deserves to be seen too. And this conversation is your chance to let that happen. It is your chance to show someone the parts of yourself that you usually keep hidden. And when you do that, something remarkable happens. The relationship does not get weaker, it gets stronger. Because real intimacy is not built on the polished version of who you are. It is built on the raw, honest, imperfect version. The version that stumbles and still stands up. The version that does not have all the answers but shows up anyway. That is the version of you that will walk out of this conversation. And I want you to think about what that means for the rest of your life. Not just this relationship, not just this moment, but everything that comes after. Because once you learn how to have this kind of honest, vulnerable conversation, you carry that skill with you forever. It becomes part of who you are. It changes how you show up in every room, in every relationship, in every moment that asks for your honesty. You stop being the person who avoids hard conversations and start being the person who welcomes them. You stop being the person who holds things in until they explode and start being the person who speaks the truth early, when the stakes are still low and the damage can still be avoided. That transformation does not happen overnight, but it starts here. It starts with this one conversation. And the version of you that emerges from it, that version is unstoppable. Tip 10. The energy you release in this conversation will ripple into every area of your life. This is the part that most people do not see coming. When you clear the tension in one relationship, the effects do not stay contained to that one relationship. They spread. They ripple outward like a stone dropped into still water. Because energy does not exist in isolation. The heaviness you have been carrying with this one person, it has been affecting everything. It has been affecting your sleep. It has been affecting your creativity. It has been affecting the way you show up at work, the way you interact with friends, the way you treat yourself when no one is watching. You might not have connected those dots yet. You might be thinking this is just about this one situation. But it is not. It never is. When something is unresolved in your emotional world, it leaks into every other part of your life. It makes you shorter with people who do not deserve it. It makes you distracted when you should be focused. It makes you tired in a way that sleep cannot fix, because the exhaustion is not physical, it is emotional. But here is the beautiful thing. The reverse is also true. When you clear that tension, when you release that emotional weight, the relief does not stay in one place either. It spreads everywhere. You will notice it in small ways at first. You will sleep a little deeper. You will laugh a little louder. You will have ideas that seem to come out of nowhere. Bursts of creativity that remind you of who you were before the tension started. And then you will notice it in bigger ways. Your confidence will return. Not the performed confidence, but the real kind that comes from knowing you handled something difficult with grace. Your relationships with other people will improve, because you are no longer carrying invisible frustration into every interaction. Your energy will feel lighter, brighter, more like the Leo you have always known yourself to be. This is not just about one conversation. This is about reclaiming yourself. This is about taking back the parts of you that the tension stole. And it starts the moment you open your mouth and speak the truth. One conversation. That is all it takes to set everything else in motion. One honest, brave, vulnerable conversation. And then watch how everything else begins to shift. Watch how doors that were closed suddenly crack open. Watch how people who had pulled away start leaning back in. Watch how the world around you starts responding to the new energy you are putting out. Because the universe does not ignore a Leo who has found their voice again. It responds, it matches, it amplifies. And the life that is waiting for you on the other side of this conversation, it is bigger, brighter, and more abundant than anything you have been settling for. So do not shrink from this moment. Step into it, fully, completely, with everything you have. And know this, the people who matter most in your life are waiting for you to do exactly that. They are waiting for the Leo they love to come back. The warm one, the open one, the one who fills a room with light just by walking into it. That Leo has not gone anywhere. That Leo has just been buried under layers of tension and unspoken words. And one conversation, one single brave, honest conversation, is all it takes to bring that Leo back to the surface. You have already proven 100 times over that you can handle hard things. This is just one more. And it might be the most important one yet. Because you were built for this. You were born for this. And the best part of your story is still being written. Leo, I want you to take a breath right now. A real one. Deep. Slow. Because you have just absorbed something important. And your body needs a moment to catch up with your mind. Everything we have talked about today was not just information. It was a mirror. And if you saw yourself in it, if any part of this message made your heart beat a little faster or your eyes sting a little, then you already know that this is real. The conversation that is coming is not something to fear. It is something to welcome. Because on the other side of it is the freedom you have been searching for. Not freedom from the other person. Freedom from the weight. Freedom from the silence. Freedom from the version of you that has been shrinking to avoid discomfort. You are a Leo. You are not meant to shrink. You are meant to take up space. You are meant to speak your truth. You are meant to love boldly, forgive generously, and lead with the kind of quiet strength that inspires everyone around you. And that is exactly what you are going to do. Not tomorrow, not next week, now, because the energy is already shifting. You can feel it, that subtle change in the air, that quiet knowing in your chest. That is the universe telling you that the time is now. You have everything you need. You have the courage. You have the heart. You have the wisdom that comes from having walked through hard things before and come out stronger on the other side. Trust yourself. Trust the process. Trust that the words will come when you need them, and that the other person is more ready to hear them than you think. This is your moment, Leo. Not to perform, not to prove anything, but to simply be honest, to simply be real, to simply be the magnificent, flawed, powerful, tender-hearted person that you have always been. The world needs that version of you. The people who love you need that version of you. And most importantly, you need that version of you. So go, have the conversation, clear the tension, restore your power, and then step into the next chapter of your life with your head held high and your heart wide open. You have two options after this video. Close it and hope things shift, or decide that the next 21 days will be different. If you choose the second, the structured 21-day transformation aligned with your sign is waiting in the pinned comment. The energy is already moving, the only question is whether you are.